The Trump administration filed emergency appeals Thursday, urging the Supreme Court to let it proceed with ending birthright citizenship, a move based on a fringe legal theory repeatedly rejected by lower courts. In these appeals, the administration argued that nationwide injunctions had overstepped judicial authority and asked the justices to limit their scope. In January, a federal judge blocked Trump's executive order, calling it blatantly unconstitutional. Shortly after, a Maryland judge ruled the plan contradicts our nation's 250-year history of citizenship by birth. Appeals courts have rejected the Trump administration's request to halt lower court rulings that imposed nationwide injunctions on an executive order he signed on the first day of his second term. For over 150 years, courts have interpreted the 14th Amendment as guaranteeing citizenship to anyone born or naturalized in the United States, regardless of their parents' immigration status. A landmark 1898 Supreme Court ruling affirmed this, and the modern court has shown no interest in revisiting it. However, some conservatives argue that this interpretation is incorrect, pointing to the amendment's phrase limiting citizenship to those subject to the jurisdiction of the U.S. They claim that undocumented immigrants fall under their native country's jurisdiction instead. Courts in Maryland, Massachusetts, and Washington have blocked the order's implementation following lawsuits from more than 20 states, 2 immigrant rights groups, and 7 individual plaintiffs. The president's executive order is outrageously illegal and cruel, and it should not be applied to a single baby in this country, said Cody Wofsy, deputy director of the ACLU Immigrants Rights Project and lead attorney in one of the cases. We are going to continue fighting to ensure that no child is denied their citizenship by this executive order. Trump's Supreme Court appeals do not directly challenge the policy's constitutionality, but instead seek what the administration calls a modest request to narrow the injunctions. If granted, this would allow enforcement of the executive order against those not covered by ongoing lawsuits. Universal injunctions have reached epidemic proportions since the start of the current administration, the Justice Department argued in its emergency appeal. These injunctions block a day one executive order nationwide, preventing enforcement against hundreds of thousands of unspecified individuals who are not before the court nor identified by the court. As an alternative, the administration asked the court to at least permit it to issue guidance on how the policy would be implemented. Though the Justice Department's appeal focuses on lower court orders blocking the executive order, it also lays out arguments challenging the conventional understanding of birthright citizenship. The executive branch mistakenly expanded birthright citizenship throughout the 20th century, granting it even to children of illegal or temporarily present aliens, the administration told the court. This near-universal policy has created strong incentives for illegal immigration. The Supreme Court is expected to set a fast-tracked briefing schedule, likely requiring challengers to respond within days.